Trump just got hit with a brutal reality check by Rosie O'Donnell, and his reaction? Pure, unfiltered meltdown mode. Let's unravel the chaos step by step.
On mainstream media, you're not doing your job. And you haven't since he came down that escalator. You haven't been doing your job. If you would have told the truth about him from the beginning and stood up to the lies that Mark Burnett sold America on The Apprentice, we wouldn't be in this position. But you equated, you normalized Trump, and that's what Time Magazine did. Man of the Year, Donald Trump. Well, you, Time Magazine. You, seriously.
Oh my God, that wasn't a mic drop, that was a full-on orbital strike from Rosie O'Donnell. The internet didn't just react, it straight up combusted. It was like Christmas in Times Square, except instead of lights and joy, we got a flamethrower aimed at Donald Trump's face. Rosie didn't hold back. She aimed straight for Trump's ego and hit it harder than Stormy Daniels with a lawsuit. Twitter, X, instantly turned into a digital cage match. One side, laughing their heads off. The other, MAGA warriors smashing their keyboards like it's 1776. And then came part two.
Where were you when, in the 2016 primaries, Trump starts insulting you? Did you see that live, or did someone tell you Trump's talking about you right now?
I was watching it live.
You were watching it live.
And my kids were in the room with me. And they said, Mom, what, did he just say you? I go, yes, he did. And he's not only insulting me, he's insulting any woman that he doesn't think lives up to his standards of what a woman is. And that's the kind of person that this man is, and why he's a danger to the world.
Boom. Right there, Rosie stopped being a celebrity feud and became a missile-locked warhead. So what triggered all this? Oh, nothing special. Just decades of Trump spewing the same caveman insults. Fat, loser, disgusting. Like a dusty record stuck on the worst part of 2006. But this time, Rosie didn't just respond. She went full Avengers Assemble on him. It was a no-holds-barred tactical airstrike of truth, sass, and absolute demolition. Maybe it was one too many Trump rants on Truth Social. Or maybe Rosie just woke up and thought, you know what? Today feels like a good day to destroy a former president. And buckle up, because the next clip, you can see Trump's rage. He just escalated.
Like the Rosie O'Donnell debate. I like debating when you have a crowd. Remember the Rosie O'Donnell?
Yeah, it was very funny. Megan
crazy thing, Megan. That was a hell of a question, man. If I didn't come up with that answer,
it was a great line.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account.
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
And when I said that, the place went crazy. And she kept talking. No, she had like 10 other.
Yeah, well, Megan said you said it to other people and you admitted you did.
And there it is, the great orange gaslight in action. Trump trying to turn years of grotesque misogyny into a stand-up routine gone wrong. But once Rosie lit that match, she didn't just clap back. She torched the entire stage. Within minutes, TikTok had turned into a digital coliseum. Clips, remixes, Gen Z summarizing the entire Trump-Rosie war in 30 seconds or less. Hashtags were everywhere. Hashtag Rosie goes nuclear, hashtag Trump meltdown 2025, and my personal favorite, hashtag someone check Mar-a-Lago. Even the late night hosts didn't stand a chance. They had to rewrite their monologues mid-taping just to keep up with the roast. And then, this.
Watching this moron speak, can he form a coherent sentence? He is the worst thing that ever happened. Period. And he's just babbling like an incoherent asshole. He's like Dr. Doom. He's the worst thing. Oh, you know what? He just lies, lies, lies. I am done with Donald Trump.
Boom! The mainstream media, they were practically foaming at the mouth. CNN called it Rosie's most savage takedown ever. Fox News, they scrambled to frame it as Hollywood being mean again. Sure, Jan, but the rest of the world, they treated it like the Super Bowl of celebrity revenge. Comedians, celebs, even random Twitter users who hadn't tweeted in years. They came out just to pile on. It wasn't just a moment. It was an event, and the fallout is just getting started.
Watched him yesterday. He couldn't put two sentences together. And it's not an age thing, it's a competence thing. He can't talk. And of course, he has to debate, I guess. I hope he's going to debate. I'm going to debate. You know, I don't want to debate people that I'm 60 points up on, because what's the purpose in doing that?
Does that mean no presidential primary debates for you?
Well, I don't see it. Look.
None? How about do the one just before Iowa? Do it, I'll moderate it.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. You know, like you did with the Rosie O'Donnell.
Would it be a deal breaker for you?
Look,
Would it?
Look,
Would it?
The people want a smart president. Ronald Reagan didn't do it. Nixon didn't do it. Nobody does it. I mean, like you asked me a question when you were moderating the debate for Fox, that frankly, if I didn't come up with the answer only Rosie O'Donnell, I would have had a problem with that. That was a...
Oh my God, the man is stuck in a Rosie loop, like a broken toy that only says Rosie O'Donnell every time you pull the string. Meanwhile, Rosie's clip, unstoppable. People were sharing it like it contained the secret to eternal youth. Facebook moms quoting it at PTA meetings, Reddit threads breaking it down like it was the Zapruder film. Even LinkedIn got weird about it. Some dude with a tie and a ring light called it a masterclass in executive communication, and while the rest of the world was eating popcorn and vibing, you just know Trump was pacing around Mar-a-Lago in circles, shouting at his aides and hammering out some caps lock rant about washed up comedians. Let's be honest, he watched that clip at least 50 times, and with every replay, he got redder, sweatier, angrier. By the end of the day, the damage was done. Rosie wasn't just trending, she hijacked the news cycle. She left Trump flailing around for a comeback. But let's be real, there is no comeback from getting verbally power washed in front of the entire internet. And then, this gem.
Dancing, whatever. And so he held a press conference to announce whether or not she was going to retain her crown. Yes. And then she started to cry. She did. So I just want to thank Donald who's giving me a second chance.
It was brilliant.
And there he is, hair looping, going, everyone deserves a second chance. And I'm going to give her a second chance.
Her hair is perfect for that. Your hair is perfect.
Rosie O'Donnell versus Donald Trump is the Hollywood versus politics feud that refuses to die. It's been nearly 2 decades of verbal jabs, social media snipes, and headline-grabbing meltdowns. And the best part, Trump still can't let it go. It all started back in 2006 when Rosie, then co-hosting The View, took one look at Trump's ridiculous circus act and decided enough. She called out his business failures, his cartoon-level ego, and let's not forget that tragic cotton candy hair. She didn't just roast him, she shredded him like a tax document at Trump Tower. And what did he do? Exactly what he always does when a woman holds up a mirror. He lost his mind. He didn't clap back. He launched a lifelong obsession. Talk shows, interviews, speeches. Somehow he made Rosie his personal Voldemort. Ask him about the economy back then, and he'd still find a way to say, well, first of all, Rosie O'Donnell is a total disaster.
Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver. Rosie attacked me personally because I was very happy when her talk show failed. The other thing that failed, and this was a real monster, and everybody was suing her, was her magazine. Her magazine called Rosie was a total disaster. So I loved it. I gloat over it. I think it's wonderful because I like to see bad people fail. Rosie failed. I'm happy about it.
Yep, that's a grown man, a US president, ranting like a middle school mean girl with a grudge and a megaphone. And no, he didn't stop there. Years passed, and Trump still couldn't let Rosie go. It was like she rented a condo in his brain, and he's been paying the HOA fees with rage tweets ever since. Back in 2011, before Twitter became X, and back when it was still socially acceptable to say LOL unironically, Trump logged on to fire off another round of insults at Rosie, because apparently drone strikes and diplomacy just didn't scratch that itch. And then came the 2015 GOP debate, live in front of millions of Americans. He gets asked a serious question about his history of sexist comments. A golden chance to dial it down, maybe act, I don't know, presidential. But Trump, he smirks, he shrugs, and he hits us with only Rosie O'Donnell. That moment said it all. Rosie wasn't just another celebrity feud. She was his full-blown, long-term obsession. While Obama was making foreign policy moves, Trump was still out here seething over a 2006 joke like someone who just found an old yearbook and rage scribbled through it. And the fact that he kept bringing her up unprompted in presidential level conversations, absolutely unhinged.
You've written about that famous question and exchange that he and I had at that August 6th, 2015, very first GOP presidential debate. It was 8 years ago now. The whole nation was watching. It was the first. It was exciting. And he and I sparred over, what was definitely a tough question about things he'd said about women. And he interrupted it with only Rosie O'Donnell. And the crowd laughed. And you analyzed that in a way that made so much sense. Can you do that here?
First of all, I'm just realizing how much you changed my life with that question, because the entire direction of my life changed in that moment. When he said the Rosie O'Donnell line, I actually stood up and walked toward the TV, and I said, I don't know what's happening here.
See, even every interview guest is still haunted by that moment. But here's the thing about Rosie, she never backed down. Trump thought she'd shrink into silence? Clearly he had no idea who he was messing with. Because Rosie doesn't disappear, she fights, and she fights loud. Every insult he threw, she flipped it into comedy gold. Every jab, she turned it into fuel. She didn't just clap back. She launched guided missiles of pure, unfiltered destruction. Through his presidency, she never let up. Interviews, roasted him. Twitter, shredded him. Comedy specials, she dragged him like luggage. Even in the darkest, most chaotic Trump moments, Rosie stayed locked in, turning his presidency into one long roast segment. And now, the saga rolls on. Trump's still finding ways to squeeze her name into his latest meltdown, still acting like he's stuck in a personal WWE match from 2006, and Rosie, still unfazed, still hilarious, and still 5 steps ahead, sipping tea while Trump spirals.
What has it been like for you having the President of the United States criticize your physical appearance?
Well, not only my physical appearance, everything. My sexuality, my parenting, my wife. Like, he went really batshit crazy.
What is it about you that drew this out of him?
Well, that I told the truth about him at a time when everyone was afraid. But then I did the really offensive thing to him. I told the truth that he was bankrupt 4 times.
That's what did it.
He's not a self-made man, that he got his daddy's money, and that he also notoriously ripped off all these private contractors, family businesses all over New Atlantic City, went under because of his unethical ways. So I told the truth about him 10 years ago at a time when anyone could have found out those truths about him, but the media decided not to print it while he was running, not to talk about the fact that there was no equivalence between him and Hillary Clinton. They acted like he was a legitimate candidate. So I feel like mainstream media is really responsible.
At this point, it's not a feud. It's a one-sided obsession. Rosie, she's out living her life, roasting him on command like it's a sport. Trump, somewhere in Mar-a-Lago, pacing around, watching her clips, muttering total disaster like a man trying to hex his ex. And Rosie? Oh, she did not come to play. She came to obliterate. From the second she opened her mouth, it was like a verbal meteor smashing straight into Trump's ego. She shredded his failed business scams. She laughed at his crumbling presidency. And she dunked on his Twitter meltdowns like she was doing a comedy slam dunk contest. But the real KO, she called him the biggest con America ever fell for. Ouch. And she wasn't done. Rosie lit him up like the grand finale at a 4th of July fireworks show. Crowd sizes mocked. Reality TV politics torched. His Twitter X ban. She joked Elon Musk only let him back because the chaos was too entertaining to resist. And the audience? They lost it. Gasps, laughter, standing ovation. It was less like a roast and more like a political execution on stage. Social media caught fire. Fans cheered. Trump loyalists scrambled to defend him. But honestly, the damage was done.
That's interesting. How come we never heard from the hospital or the doctors? How come we never heard from anyone but his fake doctor, whose name he doesn't recall? I'm really flabbergasted at how much he gets away with. I really am. Don't let him get away with anything else, people. And come on, one of you young, hungry journalists, young, somebody in your 20s, just out of college, do a big piece on this. Make it a whole YouTube story. Do it. People will watch it because, we need some answers.
And right on cue, Trump lost it. The moment Rosie's rant started trending, he snapped. Cue the classic move, all caps, rage-fueled meltdown on Truth Social. Rosie is a loser. Total disaster. Bad for America. Like she personally invented inflation and designed his worst golf courses. But here's the kicker. His usual hype squad? Silent. No Fox News emergency panel. No fire-breathing defenders. Just Trump, spiraling into the void, alone. own. Even his most loyal allies knew. Picking another fight with Rosie, massive mistake. And on the Trump meltdown scale trademark, this one ranked somewhere between the Sharpie hurricane map and his post-election tantrums. A classic overreaction with a big scoop of desperation. The truth is, Rosie lives rent-free in his head, and every time she lights him up, he proves it.
Because Donald Trump has been mad at you for a very long time.
Over a decade. Seth.
Over a decade.
Yes.
And did it sort of start? It started from The View, yes?
The View.
Yeah. And it's been really, we've sort of made the joke on the show that he's flip-flopped on everything except you.
It's actually very true.
And with that, the media circus took off at full speed. Late night hosts foaming at the mouth. Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, Seth Meyers. They all pounced on Trump's Rosie meltdown like wolves at an all-you-can-eat egomania buffet. Even the news anchors could barely hold it together, reporting on yet another round of Trump versus Rosie like it was a national holiday. Then came the memes. Twitter, sorry X, turned into a war zone. But did it actually change anything? Not really. Trump's diehard fans called it a hit job. His critics laughed themselves into an ab workout. Everyone else, just another day in the American clownverse. But one thing's crystal clear, Rosie landed a haymaker. And Trump's ego might never recover. At this point, it's practically scientific law. Trump cannot ignore Rosie O'Donnell. She could be baking cookies, adopting puppies, minding her own business. And he'd still find a way to rage post about her between Diet Cokes. The man's fought with world leaders. He's dodged investigations. He's even insulted war heroes. But nothing gets under his skin like Rosie casually frying him with a mic.
Rosie O'Donnell, who's had a very, very long feud with Donald Trump, recently tweeted about how Barron Trump, the 10-year-old son of Donald Trump, might possibly suffer from autism. Now, she did so in a tweet where she wrote, "Barron Trump autistic? If so, what an amazing opportunity to bring attention to the autism epidemic." Now, I should state that she has a 3-year-old who was diagnosed with high-functioning autism. And even so, I hate that she tweeted that.
And that right there is the secret to Rosie's power. She presses all the right buttons, the fragile ones. She doesn't just insult Trump, she is just honest. She turns his rage into memes, his outbursts into punchlines, his scandals into stand-up material. And the worst part for Trump, it works. Because every time he takes the bait, he turns a 2-minute burn into a week-long media spiral. It's his ego. It's his obsession with headlines. It's his desperate need to dominate the story. But guess what? His tantrums are exactly what keep Rosie's burns in the spotlight. If he just stayed quiet, the story would vanish, but Trump can't help himself. So the world grabs popcorn, loads up the live stream, and watches another classic Trump meltdown in real time. Because if there's one universal truth, it's that Trump never lets anything go, and Rosie, she knows it. This isn't some tabloid beef, it's a full-blown pop culture war, and she just dropped another knockout. Trump, still stuck in the same sweaty suit, screaming into the void, trying to spin it back in his favor, but no one's buying it.
Do this all the time.
Go ahead, I'm probably not going to answer.
What are your thoughts on Donald Trump and his comments that he's made recently?
He will never be president.
Let's break it down. Who won? Rosie. She didn't just wipe the floor with him, she took the whole mop, threw it in a comedy blender, and served up a roast the internet still isn't done laughing about. Her words hit exactly where they needed to. She dominated the headlines. She put Trump right where he hates being most, on the defensive. Trump, meanwhile, did what he always does. Panic, overreact, caps lock himself into oblivion. But even his base, they're tired. They've seen this tantrum before. He's replaying the same old meltdown, and it's starting to flop. So what's next? Maybe Rosie takes another swing. Maybe Trump trips over his own shoelaces again. Maybe another celebrity jumps in and makes this circus even bigger. All we know is this feud is far from over. Rosie still lives rent-free in Trump's head, and the longer he fixates on her, the more she wins. Here you can find the next video. Click on it.